Alright, guys, so it looks like The Wrap is reporting that Chris Evans is, in fact, coming back to the MCU, and specifically in Avengers Doomsday. So, yeah, let's read the article and see what's up. So, it says Chris Evans sets Marvel return in Avengers Doomsday exclusive. The Wrap exclusive. The actor most recently appeared in Deadpool and Wolverine as his Fantastic Four character Johnny Storm. I will say, just right off the bat, I mean, obviously this doesn't have the most, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening as Robert Downey Jr., just because Robert Downey Jr. already happened, so I guess I can't say I'm really all that surprised by this, to be honest. Chris Evans is returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as part of the cast for Avengers Doomsday, the highly anticipated sequel that will also star Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, The Wrap has learned exclusively. Evans will be involved in some capacity, but the extent and exact nature of his role is unknown. So, yeah, it's like, I guess it's entirely possible that Chris Evans doesn't play Captain America because Robert Downey Jr. isn't playing Iron Man. So, will he be Mole Man? Is that? I think that's a Fantastic Four villain. Will he be? I'm trying to think of a dumb villain, but I can't off of the top of my head. So I'm just gonna give up on the joke. Gonna give up on it. After sunsetting his Steve Rogers character in 2019's Avengers Endgame, Evans recently made a brief MC return in this summer's Deadpool and Wolverine, but his character Johnny Storm from Fox's Fantastic Four movies, not as Captain America. My guess is that, I don't know, are they going to have like Mimi cameos in Doomsday, right? Because like his role in Deadpool and Wolverine was very much a joke. I don't know. I get the vibe that Avengers Doomsday is probably going to be a more serious movie in the same way that, you know, Infinity War was like a relatively serious movie. Obviously, there were jokes, but it wasn't like the all-out comedy that Deadpool and Wolverine was. So I'm not sure if he would come back again as Johnny Storm, because that's just like a very memey role. Not sure. The Russo brothers, who directed both Evans and Downey Jr. in Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, are returning to direct Avengers Doomsday and its direct sequel, Avengers Secret Wars. It is interesting that they're saying that he's returning for Avengers Doomsday specifically and not Avengers Secret Wars, but it might be because maybe, well, no, I feel like they would finalize both of those movies if he was to come back in both. I don't know. I'm not going to make any definitive statements just because it's possible that they just haven't finalized his agreement for Doomsday, or for Secret Wars. But I also just assume that literally everybody's going to be in Avengers Secret Wars, so I don't know. Avengers Doomsday is slated for release on May 1st, 2026. Evans' return to the MCU has long been rumored in fanboy circles, but Marvel declined to comment. The circumstances of his return are of particular interest given that his Steve Rogers character was an old man by the end of Avengers Endgame, but Downey Jr. is returning to Marvel as a Tony Stark variant after his on-screen version of Stark died in Endgame. So all options are on the table. Evans' team did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Evans last appeared as Captain America in 2019's Avengers Endgame. Anthony Mackie is Captain America in the current iteration of the MCU, and he'll next be seen in the Marvel film Captain America Brave New World opposite Harrison Ford, which opens on February 14th, 2025. Okay, do we need all this extra stuff? Yeah, so I don't know. Like, here's the thing. Is this desperation on the part of Marvel bringing back Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr.? I mean, I think the answer is yes. Like, it definitely is. They are desperate. I don't think that is in doubt based on their recent the reception to a lot of their recent projects. That being said, is it just because bringing back Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., just because it is desperate, does that mean it's a bad thing? I would also argue not necessarily. I mean, like, I think you're lying to yourself if you don't think that there are interesting stories to tell about a Tony Stark variant being Doctor Doom, being a villain. And I think that there probably are also interesting stories to tell with a Steve Rogers variant, right? Like, maybe he isn't a villain. Maybe he's a good guy. I don't know. But maybe he is a villain. That could also be interesting. You know, Chris Evans is good at playing villains. So I I don't know. I I think it is desperate. I think that's fair to say. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to turn out to be a bad thing. I think it's entirely possible that this ends up being good. And Marvel is definitely in a position where like they need these movies to work. And so it's like they're so wounded at this moment that kind of makes me assume that they're going to come back swinging with some decent Avengers movies. But maybe that's naivety on my part. That's also entirely possible. But yeah, I don't know. Chris Evans is coming back. That's the news. We'll see in what capacity. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.